What is the 25th thing that I would do differently if I were going to college today? I would go the extra mile in all of my internships. Hi, I'm Passion Darby, and this month I am going to be sharing with you 31 things that I would do differently if I were going to college today. 31 years ago, almost to date, I was an 18-year-old young woman and I decided that I was going to college no matter what. And I did go to college that fall. It was fall of 1993. So here I am, 31 years later, and 4 college degrees later. And I feel that I have amassed a vast amount of experience, knowledge, and wisdom that I will be sharing with college goers today through this channel. So, we are on thing number 25 today. So, I think I have 6 more videos to go after this before we finish this series. I'm so excited. And I'm grateful to everyone who has taken the time to listen to even one video. And I'm very, very grateful. And I want to say thank you to my 25 subscribers. I really do appreciate your support. So let's get into this story because I think college goers today can learn a lot from the mistakes that I made and the triumphs that I had because this is really a story of triumph. So, when I was a college student, I was majoring in mass media arts at Clark Atlanta University, and my goal was to be a newscaster. So, I went about the business of interning at what I thought were fabulous organizations, and they are, but they were not the best organizations for me and my talents, but I did not know any better at the time, which is why I want to help you. So my first internship was at BET Networks, which is was located in Washington D.C. It is now located in New York City. The following summer, I interned at Essence Magazine, which actually was located in New York City in Manhattan on Broadway. And I absolutely loved and adored that internship, but for different reasons than it actually being helpful to my career. I met a lot of fabulous people there, and the experiences that I had there are just unmatched. So I really enjoyed it, but it was not best for my career. The third internship that I had was back in Atlanta, and I interned there over the fall semester, I think, while I was in school. And it was So Def Records, which is Jermaine Dupri's record label. It was a good experience, but it was so off track to my actual career goals. So those were my 3 internships in undergrad, and it wasn't until I went off to graduate school and I did my 2 internships during graduate school, which was in Los Angeles at Paramount Pictures and Carsey Warner Productions, that I learned to go the extra mile. Now, why did I not go the extra mile at the internships that I conducted in undergrad? One, I was uninspired. Like I said, my goal was to be a newscaster. None of those internships led me closer to being a newscaster or trained me in any way to be a newscaster. To be honest, I'm surprised I was even hired. I don't know what they saw in my application that made them hire me, but I feel like the universe sent me to those places because I got so much more out of the experience than the actual internship experience. So I think it was meant for me to be there for other reasons, but I really don't know what they saw in my application that would make them hire me when I was trying to be a journalist. So I was really uninspired by it because it really wasn't meshing with what I wanted for myself. Also, I did not know where I fit in at the internship. At those internships, I wasn't the only intern that they brought in. There were several other internships. It was an internship program. So, um, I really didn't see where I fit in. You know, other people had direct goals that were affiliated or directly affiliated with the organization, and so it worked for them. But for me, I really didn't see where I fit in, so I was kind of lost. The next reason was because I did not feel as if I was making a difference. And I really do enjoy making a difference. That's something I've learned about myself over the years. If I am not making a big difference, I get bored. So I was helping. Sometimes I was getting bagels. Sometimes I was getting coffee, which is really not my style, but that's what internships are often asked to do. But in terms of making a difference and making the myself really count in the environment, I didn't feel like I was doing that, and that made me feel bored and not really have a lot of interest. Also, it was not in my major, as I talked about before, so I really didn't understand my how to like leverage the opportunity other than just the opportunities that were given to me by some people there that just made me excited, like opportunities to interview artists and things like that, things that I really enjoy doing. And then also, I didn't go to the extra mile at those internships because I did not understand how to leverage the internship, as I just said. I think when I got there, like I said, there were several other interns, and they were focused. They knew why they were there, but I kind of knew why I was there, but no, not really. I was like, it was very disconnected. It was a though that they were disconnected experiences in terms of the actual internship, but in terms of the context and the cultural aspects and the artistic aspects, it was amazing. But again, I didn't know how to leverage it as something to get me to the next level in my career. And then finally, I didn't go the extra mile in those internships because I was very confused about my future. So I said in earlier videos in this series that yes, I knew I wanted to be a newscaster at the time, but I did not know how to go about being a newscaster. So I really was confused about whether or not I was going to graduate and go into that field. I also realized that I was a good writer and I was really excelling in my writing in college. And then I also knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I really didn't know how to mesh all of those things together at the time. Thankfully, I do now. But then I was so confused as a junior in college, a senior in college, that I just couldn't make the connection with those internships. But when I moved to Los Angeles to earn my master's degree, my first master's degree, and I interned at Paramount Pictures as a part of my program, things became very different for me. So, why was it different? Why was I inspired to go the extra mile for Paramount Pictures? Well, one reason is the energy in Los Angeles is very vibrant and very artistic. And that is who I am. I love music, I love television shows, I love film, and I love good food, and I love the beach and the sunshine. All of those things was just buzzing me. And it was just putting a lot of electricity inside of me. And I was very excited to be there. So, just the energy of Los Angeles and me wanting to actually be there made me work a little harder. Also, my natural talent of being organized was being used at my internship. So, let me tell you what my internship was. I was an intern in the research department at Paramount Pictures. We were responsible for producing and printing. There was no, I'm not going to say there wasn't any internet at that time, but the internet was nowhere near what it is today. So we could not digitally send the ratings for television shows. I'm sure that's what they do now, but back then we had to come in, me and my co-interns, be there at 6 a.m. every morning before the Paramount Pictures lot opened and before the show producers arrived, and we used to have to not only print their ratings from the night before, but we also had to deliver those ratings, hard copies of those ratings, to the different studios or stages that were at Paramount. When I tell you that was the best job ever, and oh, never mind, I was about to start talking about the food on the lot, but that's a whole nother topic. But it was just the best job, and I really enjoyed it. And me and my co-interns we would be there together between the hours of 6 up to 9 by ourselves. We used to have so much fun on that lot before our bosses got there. I don't even want to go there because I might get somebody in trouble, but we had a lot of fun. So, in order to deliver the ratings accurately, because that was a serious thing, put yourselves in a television or film producer's shoes. And if your ratings are not up to par, you could lose your show and therefore lose your job and therefore you lose your income. And that was a big deal. And so people would be very angry if they arrived to work and they did not have their ratings that day. So um, it took organization skills to produce that and to produce those ratings and to get them to the all the different lots on time. And I am a naturally organized person, so this worked for me. So it was just using my natural talents. So of course I excel because it was my natural talents. Also, Paramount Pictures is just an exciting place to work, period. I was in love with television growing up. So sometimes I would be driving the golf carts on the lot, and I would see some of my favorite actors. I think one day I saw I think his name is Glenn Turman from A Different World. I think I might have almost run into somebody using the golf court. I mean, the golf cart. I was so excited to see him. So it was just a good place to work. It was very exciting. Lots of food on the lot, lots of people being creative and doing great things and just wanting their shows to win and their productions to win, their films to win. And it was just a good, energetic place to work. And then I also had a great team of co interns. Some of us are still friends today, and they were all from different walks of life, but all of us were really into saving and investing money at the time. And we all came from good families, and we all liked to hang out in LA, and we would do things together on the weekends. It was just good vibes. Also, I think that Paramount was different for me because I felt like my work made a difference. And like I said earlier, that mattered to me. And I knew that if I did not get to the lot on time, produce the ratings on time, and get those ratings into the hands of the producers or their assistants on time, that things could fall apart. And so the fact that I was able to get that done and make everybody so happy, it made me happy. And then lastly, I went the extra mile because the people there were just kind people. I know that there's a stigma that people in Hollywood are not kind, but I did not have that experience. People were extremely kind, and the producers were so gracious and so thoughtful, and that inspired me to want to help them. No one wants to work for an ungrateful boss, and even though they were not my direct bosses, they were my bosses because I had to produce for them, and they were just good people. So that inspired me to work very, very hard. So let's fast forward to how I got to the Soul Train Music Awards. Speaking of producers, so my favorite producer on the lot was a woman named Linda Bell. I loved her because she was just so fabulous, and I was fabulous, and I like fabulous people. So she was just all that to me. And I really admired the fact that she never waited for her ratings. She would come to our office and get her ratings because she was dead serious about her show. And I really admired that. What was her show? She was the executive producer of Entertainment Tonight. Now, I don't own a television anymore. So I really don't know if Entertainment Tonight still airs, but at this time, it was the number one entertainment television show or entertainment news show um, on the air. And of course, she was well paid and well compensated because she was a master and superstar producer. And her show was so well run and it was long standing. By the time I got to Paramount Pictures as an intern, I think Entertainment Tonight had been on for at least 15 years. And so Linda Bell was at the helm of that show, and she was a superstar. She was just a rock star at her job. So I used to really admire her, and I would see her sometimes first thing in the morning because she would come to our office and pick up her ratings because she wanted to know her ratings from the night before. And she was there as early as we were, and I just really admired her. And then also, she used to dress down, head to toe, head to toe. She was always beautiful, always sharp, always well dressed. And she used to tell me all the time, Passion, I love your outfit. You dress so nice. You dress so cute. And I would say, Linda, that is such a compliment coming from you because you can dress, girl. You can dress. But I didn't call her girl because, out of respect. But she was just so fabulous. And I really looked up to her. But one day near Christmas, I would say about 2 days before Christmas, our bosses came to us, our real bosses, not the producers, came to us interns and they said, we're going to be closed on Christmas. We will not be producing any ratings on Christmas. Do not allow any producer to force you to produce their ratings on Christmas because from what I gathered from my bosses is that they did not like the producers. They felt like the producers were pushy and disrespectful and too demanding. So they told us interns to just not, like, Christmas was like bars, like bars off, like, you cannot do that, just don't do that for them, you don't have to do that. We know that they want their ratings, but you all do not have to come in on Christmas to give them their ratings. So that's like off the off the table in terms of possibilities. So while I did appreciate what they were saying, I just didn't see, to me it wasn't a big deal, particularly because I was not going home that Christmas, and by home I mean Chicago. And then also there was no snow in in California, in Los Angeles for Christmas. So it really didn't feel like Christmas to me because that was my first Christmas in California, and I was accustomed to Christmases in Chicago. So it didn't. It felt like a beach day instead of a Christmas day. So I really didn't see the big deal. So one that I think that afternoon, Linda Bell came to me and she said, um, she actually was talking to me and my co-intern Tyler, who's still my friend today. And she said, Passion, do you think that you can print my ratings out on Christmas Day? I have a big show coming out on Christmas Eve, and I need that. I want to know my ratings. So, do you think you can come in and just produce my ratings, print them out, and then, that could be the end of the day? And I thought about what my bosses had said, but I really liked Linda, and she was always so kind to me. So I just said, okay, because I knew I didn't have anything else to do on Christmas, and it wasn't a big deal to me to just come in and print out her ratings and go back home and get into bed. So I decided to do that for Linda, not expecting anything in return, but simply because I liked her. She was so kind to me. And I feel like if a person is kind to you, you should be kind back to them if they need you to, when they might really need you to. So I came in that Christmas, I gave her her ratings, and I was getting ready to go back to bed, go drive back home and drive back to the residence hall and go to bed. And so she asked me, she was so grateful. She was like, Passion, is there anything that you've ever wanted to do that I can help you with? And I thought about it, and I took a risk and I said something really crazy. I said, you know what? I've always wanted to go to the Soul Train Music Awards. And why am I laughing? Because it's true. The first time I saw the Soul Train Music Awards, I was a 12-year-old girl, and I was at my god sister Lisa's house, and I was mesmerized because I am a music aficionado. I grew up in music. I love music. I don't remember my life without music. But that was the first time that I saw, I think, a all black music television award show, and I was so fascinated. And I said to myself, as a 12-year-old girl in 1987, I'm going to go to that show one day. And I had no idea how, but I just felt like one day I was going to be in the audience, or in the vicinity of that show. So I shared my dream with Linda. And do y'all know Linda got me some tickets to the show? And not only did she give me tickets to the show, she said, you know what? I'm going to do you one better. Why don't you be my backstage intern for the show? And I could have just died that day. I could have just fallen out right there in that office at Paramount Pictures in the research department. I was like, "Oh my God, what do you mean?" And she said, "Well, we have a photographer who's going to be going, and you can just go with him, and I'll get you a backstage pass, and you can go, or you can sit in the audience with the tickets if you want to. But I think you should just go with the photographer. And I said, I'll go with the photographer because I don't even know why, but that just felt like a better deal to me. So I said, I'll go as your photography intern. That is so fantastic. And I asked her, which I should not have done, not that I don't like Tyler, but I learned later that when someone blesses you, you just take the blessing. You don't invite other people. But because I like Tyler too, I said, "Can Tyler come?" And she said, "Sure." So she gave me and Tyler the opportunity to be her backstage interns at the Soul Train Music Awards. I can't tell you what a blessing it was. And I went. And it was so wonderful because I was able to meet and stand next to so many celebrities that I had admired for so long, or musicians. I was able to stand next to Luther Vandross, who my mother loved. And then I also was in the same room as like people like Magic Johnson and Destiny's Child when they were very young, Beyonce and her girls when they were very young. And then, of course, my hero, one of my heroes was there, the founder of Soul Train, Don Cornelius. So it was just a blessing all around. And I'm so grateful for that. And that actually, the opportunity just went on to open up so many doors for me because after that, I just kept getting tickets to all the Soul Train shows. I think I went to four, at least four or five during my tenure in Los Angeles. And I had so many tickets one year. I think I had about 14 tickets that I took my students because by that time I was no longer interning at Paramount Pictures. I had finished my internship and I was now running my program at the Boys and Girls Club of Pasadena. So I took my students because I just had so many tickets. So it ended up being a blessing for me via Linda Bell, me just going the extra mile. I'm so glad that I helped her. I don't remember if I ever got in trouble for doing that or if my supervisors found out that me and Tyler had done that because it wasn't just me. Tyler came in with me so that I would not be in the office by myself that early in the morning on Christmas Day when the rest of the lot was closed. So Tyler came with me and um, I can't remember if me and Tyler got in trouble or not. I don't know. Honestly, I wouldn't have cared. I just wanted to help Linda because she was so nice and she deserved it. I think when people work hard, we should help them with what they need. So I just helped her and I don't regret it. So it worked out for for me, Tyler, and Linda Bell, maybe not for my supervisors. So what I would do differently, I would have done things like that in my other internships because that's just the right thing to do. That's the ethical thing to do. I just didn't know any better. And I'm grateful that I learned as I aged and as I interned more and as I became more inspired. And so I want to help you go the extra mile in your internships from day one because you never know what blessings can be involved in that. So I have a few ways that you can do that. Number one, be kind to everybody. You never know with whom you are interacting. So I was always kind to Linda Bell. I had no idea that one day she would make my childhood dream come true. I had no idea she even had the power to do that. I knew she was the executive producer of um, Entertainment Tonight, but I didn't know that she would care so much about me and be so grateful for my help that she would open up another door for me. So you never know who you are interacting with. So just be kind to everybody. Also, number two, be polite to everybody. Being polite and kind are two different things. So I wanted to make those two different categories. Being polite is saying please and thank you, listening when people are speaking, um, being cordial and being friendly. So, being kind is just treating people how you would want to be treated. Number three, dress the part. As I said earlier, Linda Bell used to dress so, oh gosh, she was just like a fashionista. But she also thought I was a fashionista. Yes, she did. Because I used to dress really cute. I don't do that anymore. But when I was younger, I used to really dress. So obviously, I was dressed the part. And she thought that I would be a good representative for her brand, or else she would not have sent me to the BET Awards with I'm sorry, the Soul Train Awards. I later did go on to the BET Awards, but the Soul Train Awards with a badge that says Entertainment Tonight. She, in other words, she would not have let me represent her brand if I did not dress the part and carry myself well. Number four, be professional. Always be professional. Even though Linda Bell and I shared a camaraderie and a light-hearted interactions sometimes, I always remained professional because I knew that I was at work. And I think that she appreciated that. So always be professional no matter what. Number five, follow through. Now, what if I had told Linda Bell that I was going to come to produce her ratings on Christmas and did not show up? She probably would have tried to kill me. And I couldn't have blamed her because ratings was so important at that time. So make sure if you say something that you're going to do, make sure you do it and follow up. And it's nothing wrong with saying no. You don't have to say it. I could have easily just said no. My supervisors don't want us coming in on Christmas, but I said yes. So I made sure I made it happen. So make sure you follow through. And remember, again, you can always say no. Number six, be on time, and on time is early, okay? I don't think I need to explain that one, but just please be on time. My pet peeve is when people show up late for anything that I'm involved in. I get very upset, but always be on time, and on time is 10 to 15 minutes early. Number seven, listen. Train yourself to stop talking when other people are speaking. This is something I've had to train myself to do. I learned this actually from Ruben Studdard. He's a singer, and he was the second winner of American Idol, I think. I learned this from him because he had a habit of, when the judges, Simon, whatever his name is, Paul Abdul and Randy Jackson, I think, would give him feedback, his mouth would automatically close. I admired that about him. I thought that was so humbling because so often the contestants on American Idol talk back when the judges are trying to give them feedback, and that is so inappropriate. So as I watched Ruben, who went on to win, okay, because people who know how to listen end up being winners, I said to myself, I'm going to train myself to do that. That when other people are talking, I am going to learn to just close my mouth and just listen. Number eight, put your phones away while you're working. Now, this was not a problem when I was an intern because we did not have cell phones like that. And even when with me now, I have a cell phone, but I still would never have my phone out at work. It's just plain disrespectful. Please put your phones away when you are interning. You are there to work. Number nine, speak your dreams out loud when the time is right. So you should not speak your dreams in front of everybody, but use your sense of judgment and your sense of discernment to know when to speak your dreams. So when Linda Bell asked me, is there's anything I've ever wanted to do, that was my shot to say, I've always wanted to go to the Soul Train Music Awards, and look what happened. She made that happen for me. So don't be afraid to speak your dreams. Just practice discernment with whom you do so. Number 10, read the room. Learn how to read the room. You can definitely go the extra mile just by stepping out of the room if you hear the beginnings of a sensitive conversation, excusing yourself when people are have indicated that you are no longer part of the conversation, things like that. Learn to read the room, and that will help you to go the extra mile. Number 11, simply do your job. I think that's what stood out to Linda regarding me, is that I was always in there working. I loved that job. I loved it. I loved it. I took great pride in delivering those ratings on time to the different studios. And so if you could just do your job, guess what? You'll be doing better than most of the interns. Just simply do your job. Number 12, forget your job description. Okay. So, to be honest with you, we were responsible for delivering the ratings, producing them, printing them, organizing them, stapling them, and getting them to the different stages. But I was not responsible for coming in on holidays. So I just forgot my job description when it came down to helping Linda and also a few other people I helped in that way. But Linda was my favorite. So sometimes you have to forget your job description. You don't want to have the attitude like, oh, that's not in my job description. unless you feel like taken advantage of and I or your dignity is put into question. But that was not the case with me. So sometimes it's okay to forget your job description and just do what's asked to get you to the next level and to go the extra mile. Number 13. No, what does that say? So I couldn't read my own handwriting. Sometimes you have to break the rules. Understand that sometimes you will have to break the rules. You don't want to break the rules all the time. Let it be for a good cause. For me, this is what I truly believe. If Linda Bell did not get those ratings, she would have taken it out on my supervisors anyway. So the best thing for me to have done was to get her those ratings. So sometimes you have to break the rules for the greater good. Use your sense of discernment or your power of discernment to determine when that is. Number 14, say thank you. Use powerful words such as thank you. They go a long way and it helps you to look as if you are a person who doesn't mind being polite and going the extra mile. Number 15, say good morning. Think about my own internship experience at Paramount Pictures. Me and my co interns used to have to be there at 6 a.m. Imagine pulling up in front of the gate, which always had a guard with a bad attitude and not speaking and not saying good morning, or going around to the different stages where there are people who have been filming for hours or maybe even overnight, and you can't even open your mouth and say good morning. Super tacky. Always say good morning or good evening or good afternoon when you interact with people, or as my mother used to teach me, when you enter a room you should acknowledge everyone in that room. Number 16, accept invitations. So before that interaction with Linda, before she asked me to print her ratings on Christmas Day, she had actually invited me and Tyler, my co-intern Tyler, to, and the other interns as well, to an omelet breakfast at her studio. It was like catered, and we can go in and have our pick out our ingredients, and they created or made the omelets right there in front of us. Sometimes people are doing things like that to test you and to see how you behave in certain environments or certain professional environments. And I believe that the way that I carried myself during that omelet breakfast demonstrated to Linda that I am a person who she could trust outside of the Paramount Pictures lot with her brand. I hope that makes sense. So you never know what situation other people are considering you for. So always carry yourself well and accept invitations where you will have a chance to demonstrate how you carry yourself. Number 17, sometimes volunteer to help with projects even if no one else does. So I wouldn't do this all the time because then people might take advantage of you. You definitely want to have boundaries, but sometimes, if you see that someone is in need, go ahead and volunteer. I mean, that's what I did. I was just like, okay, I'm not going home for Christmas. I can go right back and get into bed. Okay, I'll help. So sometimes volunteer, even if no one else does, it'll make you stand out and it'll show that you're willing to go the extra mile. Number 18, be a good person. I literally helped Linda just because I wanted to. Nobody made me. I didn't have to. I just wanted to because she was so nice. And I knew that her ratings were important to her. And it didn't cost me anything to go in and help her. It was really, truly my pleasure still today to have helped her. So be a good person and think about how you would want to be treated in certain situations and then go the extra mile by treating others in that same way. So, as you all prepare to intern this summer, hopefully, summer of 2024, please remember these tips and consider going the extra mile in those internships that you will be participating in. You never know where you're going the extra mile might lead you, and you might even get a chance to go to the Soul Train Music Awards, just like I did. Thank you so much for listening, and please go to college.